And as military people, we're prompt. So Len, take us away.
All right, guys. So we have been reading. This is the V. Okay, so I've been recording. Is that okay, you guys?
Absolutely. Yeah. Make sure
All
everybody
right.
is okay like that.
After the fact, I'm recording. By the way,
By the way,
I'm recording. Okay, so we've been reading the book. Oh crap, you can't see it with my background. The Asset Mindset:
Oh,
There
you go.
How to Mindset for Reaching Your Goals: A Special Forces Perspective for Achieving Success by Daniel Fielding, and he was on the podcast, right, Kevin?
He was.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a
Okay.
great show.
So
awesome.
I really enjoy reading this so far because I think a lot of the stuff in this book is super relatable. So let's see. I tasked y'all to read chapters 1, 2, and 3. So chapter 1 is about is kind of like the intro and how to overcome obstacles. Chapter 2, where to begin. Chapter 3, what to avoid, environments, people, and excuses. So let's see. On my notes for chapter 1, the asset mindset is to keep making moves to find a way past whatever obstacles we may be facing in our lives. So, from just the first chapter, do any of you guys want to chime in on what you think the asset mindset is?
Yes, I have an amazing example of this. So I'm not a veteran. You know, I haven't experienced the difficulties of that. But I do home remodeling and a lot of stuff. You know, there's times where I take on a job and I look at it and I'm like, I can't do this. Like I literally feel like, but I also have a choice. Like I have a choice to make. Like I can look at this and say, well, I can't do this. And Kevin will tell you, I never have turned down anything because I've always had this mindset of I have YouTube, I have whatever. Like I can figure.
You can find out a way.
The only thing stopping me is me. And so, you know, that I feel like that it's made me realize that perspective.
Like
Great.
it. So this is my second go round for the asset mindset. First time I read it, kind of almost in obligatory fashion, just so I could be up to speed when Dan came on the show. This time I've made up my mind to use it as a how-to manual. And when I've been doing, I have the book, but I've also been doing it on my phone because I like how you can highlight and stuff like that. And one of the first, I'll just go that route. One of the first things I highlighted was if we're frozen, we can't grow. And that definitely, that gets into that whole, in manufacturing, like what you hear a lot is we've always done it that way. I mean, I'm sure everybody's, how many times in any workforce and any, any platform have we heard that? Just because it's always the way we've done it doesn't necessarily make it a good thing, and that means we are frozen. So how do we grow if we're frozen, we're stuck? So,
I mean, especially if you're like in a group of people who've always done something a certain way for many, many years, they're like, well, why should we change it? Like it's works this way. Well, you have to be open to new ideas because there's always new stuff or younger people or even older people or even people from different aspects of life that can teach you something. You have to be open to those ideas for sure.
Well, I think that's one thing. Like, I mean, I got it. This is a little sidebar, but I basically fell in love with Rex day one because he greeted me. His greeting to me was, "Dude, your eyes are awesome."
Wait a second. Did you guys meet on Tinder?
So I wasn't quite sure.
Grindr. It was Grindr.
It was Grindr. Oh, even better.
Here we go. All right.
Kevin, do you know what Grindr is?
What Rex will tell you, and this is kind of my problem. I definitely bring a positive attitude even in the worst circumstances. I don't know nature, nurture. I can't explain it. But what I'm realizing by reading the book is that positive attitude sometimes is not enough if you don't follow through with it, because you can talk all day long about what's the right thing to do and what you want to do, what what you want to accomplish.
Right.
You know, you
Exactly.
can create and believe it too. But until you put a plan into action, it's worthless. And
That's right.
that's really what I'm getting from the book. It's time
Right.
to do the work, in other words.
Right. So let's go over some of my notes. It says that many people are stuck in their life circumstances because they don't know what to do, or they're just too scared to take that first step. Like he was talking about jumper one. Jumper one was scared with tears rolling down his eyes. But when it came down to it, he made a decision and he did it, And so you have to let go of those negative thoughts and just do it, like
Yes.
Nike. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he brought up the Green Beret motto, and I'm not sure if I'm going to say it right. De oppresso liber, meaning
You said it
libre.
right.
All
Yep,
right.
yep. You're okay.
to free the oppressed. And so sometimes people oppress themselves with
Yes.
negative thoughts and the way of your train of thought and your thinking. And so
Right.
to free yourself from that negative thoughts, and also to use that opportunity, like he said, fear is an opportunity to display courage.
Yes.
So like all of us, that we have shown some sort of courage, whether it's showing up to the book club, or even if it's chatting in the room, or reaching out to the VTT community. That is courage, because a lot of times that is the hardest step to do, is to just find this kind of community.
Absolutely.
So I absolutely love within the VTT community the courage that those people show by just putting themselves out there. I don't even think they know how courageous they are. Of course, I really related to the whole, jump experience because, I did that. I got that. Like my way of getting through that first jump was, I remember we did really small chalks when you consider that, when I was at the 82nd Airborne, we would jump out with 110 people. In jump school, we jumped out with 16 people, eight on each side at a time. And I was somewhere in the middle. And I remember, like, I saw the jump master counting the first 8.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, oh, good. I'm going to get to see how this works. And so I was 8.
Yeah.
So I was last man in the chalk. And my way of getting through that was back in the day, and this was the old John Wayne steel pot. You had the cat eyes. The whole time, all I did was stare at the back of his helmet, knowing that if I followed his cat eyes, it would take me out the door. But the point is that being influenced on how to deal with fear at such a young age, I don't necessarily think that it was such a good thing, because what I'm realizing now is my problem is that, not that I'm not willing to admit what my fears are, but sometimes I don't know what they are. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's like, because what I'm learning lately is that a lot of, and I'm trying to work through it, but a lot of, I'm being told that anger is really fear. I'm not sure if I buy that all the time, because sometimes I'm just pissed.
No, that's not true all the time.
Maybe not, but
I think sometimes, yeah.
I think Monica, I definitely think you're right. Hey, we have Leah.
Hey, Leah. Thanks for joining. So, when it comes to that jumper scenario, so in the Navy, we have to dive off of these huge platforms. They're like Olympic platforms. And it's kind of the same thing. Like, you either go or you're going to get pushed off. So you gotta figure out what you're gonna do, at that moment. But he said in the book, Fielding said that you need to understand your fear, like how you said, Kevin, that you weren't sure if anger is fear or whatnot. I could tell you that if I get scared or if I get sad, it comes out as anger. Because being military or even in construction, Rex, a lot of times you motivate people through anger, like you better get your butt here, or I'm gonna fuck your shit up. You know what I mean? Like anger is a motivator. And so for military people, that's like our baseline, and it's hard to get over that. And so anger can be fear, it can be, you know, sadness, it could be disappointment, it could be any one of those. But what he says is the goal is to understand where that fear is coming from and then go from there.
Right.
A lot of
Absolutely.
it, I feel like a lot of fear is just we are out of our comfort zone.
Right.
So like fear, if you're out of your comfort zone in a bad situation, you know, like you're in danger or whatever, you know, fear might be something that would save your life. You know, those endorphins to panic or whatever, you know, to act right in the moment, or, you know, to not really digest it or whatever it is. But it's like certain times, like fear is just like because we're not used to it, and it can be a good thing. You know, I sent the video of me, you know, walking my tightrope like stuff with me and my friends. You know, we
Oh
have
yeah, that was
we
you.
have yeah, it's like a
Yeah,
redundant
boy.
system. You know, I've
I
been on
sat there
WB.
going, oh!
I was on WBTV
I
and
was
the
like, this
public
guy's
news.
cuckoo.
Yeah.
I got a ticket for doing it once, but
Oh my
Did you?
God.
yeah.
Oh,
So
man.
Rex, can I interject here? Because and it's weird that
Sure,
I've
go
never
ahead.
asked
Go
you.
ahead.
Are you actually even now scared when you're out on that slack line?
Yeah, so that's the thing. It's kind of I would relate this to someone that's like a paratrooper, because like over time you get more comfortable. Like like you really know that you're safe. But even to this day, when someone says, "Hey, I got a line set up," or "We go set up one," you know, I will still feel like I'm going to die. You know, it's like, I mean, I know I'm not going to die. And a lot of times, like the best motivation that someone ever gave me was, they said, you got to conquer your inner bitch. You know, I mean, they were like, I mean, seriously, like they
Sorry,
were like,
ladies.
yeah, I mean, not in
Hey,
the,
we're
not in the
vets. We've heard it
Who said
before.
it was inner?
Yeah.
Who
I'm
lied
not
and said it
trying
was
to-
inner for you?
But yeah, but for me, what like, and I'm sure like anybody, like this is not just with like walking a high line or with it's with anything in life, really. When you have this fear and then you doubt yourself, and even though you know
Right.
it's most likely going to work out, and if you were laying on your deathbed and you were thinking you were going to be like, shit, I wish I would have tried that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
So
Leah
that brings
Day, how are
What
you?
is 50-year-old Rex? You know?
Is Leah muted?
yeah,
Yeah.
she's muted.
No. Yeah, sorry to go off on
There
a
she
tangent.
is.
doing all kinds of like they're playing games and screaming and stuff. So
It's okay.
Oh, that's fine. I
That's
got you.
fine.
Hey.
Don't worry about it.
So for chapter
Okay.
1, Fielding also talked about doubt, how it's dangerous. I mean, especially if you're going to be tight roping and all that stuff. That's cuckoo, but no judgment.
Nah, y'all way crazy here.
He also says that let's see, doubt is dangerous, an obstacle, because if you think you can't do something, you most likely never will. So that if you ever heard of the law of attraction, the way that you think is what you're going to attract. So
Right.
negativity or positivity or anything like that, that's what will happen. So he also mentioned focusing on the positive outcomes, so the positive goals, and even taking the opportunity, because when there is no risk, there is no reward, right?
Right.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that is
And,
so
and when
true.
it comes to that thinking, I can't remember exactly how he said it, and I'm actually trying to incorporate this. Bruce Lee stated that never even speak a negative about yourself, because when you speak it, you give it energy. And I'm sure Rex can appreciate, like, because the job I'm in now, even though I've been a machinist for 30 years, like this is a new job to me. It's more a maintenance role. So I can't tell you how many times, like maybe I make a mistake or don't catch something, and I'll say something, I don't even know why I do it, but I'll be like, I guess I'm just a dumbass. Knowing I know I'm not a dumbass, but
Right.
it's like I'm thinking about that.
You're feeding the bad wolf. That's
Thank
what
Yeah.
you were
you.
doing.
Yes.
You
So
were
that's
feeding.
chapter
You were
2.
totally feeding.
So yeah,
Great segue to
exactly.
chapter 2, y'all.
Yeah. So, and maybe
definitely.
that's again, my second
Mhm.
go through on Dan's book. it definitely has more to me of a how-to, like, okay, it's time to, I've read the book once.
Yeah.
Now,
And now you're actually trying to take it in and like pick things
Yeah,
up and
yeah.
actually utilize
Yes.
what you're
Yes.
reading.
Yeah.
Right.
It actually reminded me a lot of, I mean, you can throw any kind of subject matter in here or any expertise that the author has had, but it reminded me a lot of a book I read a long time ago called The Mental Athlete. And it's entirely about visualizing what you're about to do. And specifically for like really, I'm no high-end athlete, but for like professional and Olympian athletes who go through psychological training to actually visualize themselves jumping over the hurdles or standing on the podium. And if you don't actually see yourself running through the course or whatever it is, it's not going to happen that way.
Yeah, you got to mentally prepare yourself.
Right.
For sure.
Nice.
Yeah.
And you can apply that to anything. It doesn't have to be sports. It can be anything.
Right.
You know.
So before we move on to what looks like we're going to chapter 2, because I've got my little phone notes here.
You got the phone notes?
Yeah. The one thing I really liked was his talking about be grateful.
Yes.
For some reason, the way he laid that out with you may be driving the old car, you see the new car, but then there's a dude walking who just wishes he had a car.
Who wishes he even had that car.
The person in the hospital who sees you walking. And that's actually one of the easiest ways to be grateful, but I don't do it.
It's hard.
I don't do it.
I think I think being grateful is like motivation. It's like he talks about bathing. Why do we do it every day? Because you need to replenish that.
Yeah. Although if you hear about them movie stars, apparently they're not real big on
need that.
Ew.
Well, I think sometimes when you spiral down and you get to that mindset where you're thinking very negatively, like, and this can even be with PTSD or, any certain day that you feel you can't even do your job or you can't take care of your kids or you can't even go out for your daily walk. If you just think about like, well, yesterday I did 3 steps. Today, I mean, even if I did 2 steps, at least I did 2 steps, that's being grateful. Like, or, I have these buddies online, VTT, my community, that I can always reach out to that I'm very grateful for. So if you think about things like that, like, well, yesterday I couldn't even get up, and it's fine to have good days. I couldn't even get up and like brush my hair, but today I'm going to brush my hair, like the smaller things, like just to be grateful for.
Right. For sure.
Yeah. Hey, do you think, here's one thing I want to ask everybody, as far as being grateful, even like sometimes, like he said, the fake it till you make it type of mentality, it's like, how can you fake those gratefulness into your life? Like, like you just literally like it might be that good cup of coffee in the morning or a bowel movement, whatever it is,
or both together.
Hey, James is in the house.
Hey, James,
my beautiful friend.
It's the little things in life.
Everybody. Sorry, the baby won't
Love
go to
you,
sleep,
bro.
so.
Can I say
Okay.
something about what Rex said? And it does actually, it was so funny. Before Dan actually did his little thing, fake it till you make it, there was like 2 sentences before, and I made a note where I felt like I was going to tell everybody, yeah, just fake it till you make it, right? I'll be honest with you, I've lived by that. I really have. And I think Rex can attest to that in the workplace, because when we work together, we could find ourselves in some pretty horrendous, miserable situations. But I think he will agree, I never showed it. There was not a person.
Hey, I can tell you a personal story. This might violate some boundaries for Kevin, but
wait, what boundaries?
Go ahead and violate me.
All right, there was a day where me and Kevin were working in like 110-degree weather, probably inside of a machine. He's up on top, disconnecting this cylinder, working the crane, while I'm on this like bridge ladder, half-ass secured to these tie rods, and I'm like probably 15 foot off the ground. But we're sitting there and we're trying to extract this like 25-foot long cylinder when it's extracted. Like, it was a giant cylinder. And we're talking, having a good time. And all of a sudden, Kevin's forehead sweat fell off, and I was talking, and it went right in my mouth. And yeah, and
What?
and instead of me acting like a triggered pansy, I looked over and started talking about how horrible it was to this other guy, and I made him throw up. But yeah,
that is
Oh my
wild.
God.
Wow.
Yeah, but I persevered. We persevered.
But
Oh my gosh.
I think us as veterans could agree that that's really what they taught us was that, you know, I'm going to steal from the Marines, but that embrace the suck. And
Right.
I know every single one of you as veterans, and Rex, you know, like I said, you're our veteran, you just don't realize it. Mentality wise, we never let others know that they've got under our skin. They might have us triggered. We might want to explode, but there's just a certain sense of satisfaction in that, and that's it's still along that fake it till you make it. No, I'm not happy. I'm absolutely not friggin' happy. I hate where I'm at right now, but it doesn't do any good to put that out there. You know, I mean, even though I didn't, even though I didn't know it, yeah, you know, it is, it's defeatist for sure, but putting that negative energy accomplishes nothing. So I didn't realize that's what I was doing. I think I did it more as a matter of personal pride. Like, I'm not going to let you show that you've, you know, got under my skin and made me mad or whatever the case is. But it's definitely, it was great how he said that fake it till you make it. And that's not being fake. That's just putting forward a positive attitude until you absorb the positivity.
Well, he said even if you're at your low point, I mean, even if you put a smile on, like if I'm smiling right now, you can tell that you can tell by my voice that I'm smiling.
It's contagious too.
So it's contagious. So other people are going to smile too, and it affects everyone in the room. Now, if I came in with a negative attitude and we had to be deployed or I have to work for these 10 hours, then it's going to make my entire 10-hour day and my civilian desk job miserable for everyone else who's around me, you know? So even that fake it till you make it, that mentality is it definitely helps.
I do that often, like, cause I'll be underneath someone's house and I bust off a drain line and like shit water's running on me or something.
God.
And I'm just like, I'll
fun.
just, like Kevin will tell you, this is just how I am. I'll just start yelling at my helper and saying, "Oh yeah, boy, I love this. I live for this shit.
God.
Yeah,
my God.
Get some."
And then I get out and I get out from underneath the house and I rip my jumpsuit off and I'm like, God, I fucking hate this.
Yeah.
But you know, that's a lot of truth in the fake it till you make it.
That's one of the points that he brought in, was that you can't control what happens to you. If a line bursts or pipe bursts and you get shit all over you, that happened. But that wasn't like, you can't control that. Like, it was bound to happen, but you can control how you feel and how you act and what you do in that situation. So
exactly. The only thing we can control in life is how we react to it. That's what I think.
Yes.
You know?
So
you can a
Monica,
lot of people
I'm gonna
say,
come at you because that you're right. But in my case, because I'll be straight out honest with you, and I know all my new friends will find it hard to believe. Even Rex never saw, I don't think, any of it, but I definitely have an anger problem. You know what I'm saying? And that, and it's explosive, like scary explosive. Like, because I'm little, you know, I used to be a little short, fat guy. Now I'm just a short, like,
jolly
fat guy.
I got guns now.
You've got guns now.
But so I'm by no means physically intimidating, but I know that explosiveness scares people, you know, and that's part of that whole getting back to that. Was I afraid when that happened? You know, was there fear involved? And that is going to be a source of work for me. You know, that really hit home. That really hit home.
I have an interest. I just want to say this real quick. So when I was doing my highline walking, a lot of times I would never freak out. Like I would figure out a way to suppress these emotions and this energy inside of me to do what I knew I had the capabilities of doing. I would do these things. But then this thing happened. It was like for months. I would be laying in bed and I would be thinking about those moments, and I would get so in that I would have literally have like a mental breakdown in my bed, like because I don't know, but I think that I think that the body will suppress it will suppress way more than it reveals unless you allow it to be revealed.
That's pretty good. I like that. Say that again, Rex.
The body will. The body. Yeah. The body will.
Are you smoking that wacky weed in the background? And should I like come and hang out?
No, dude. No, it's just a Miller Lite. Sorry, I just have to. My phone's on the charger.
But yeah, that's so. Len, can you touch on, because this is a problem that with me, and this is I have highlighted. I believe I've moved over into chapter 2, and I'm sure you have notes on it. The more we feel organized, the more control we have, and the easier our lives will be.
So
I am the most unorganized person I've ever met in my life.
Right. So back to what Monica was saying about the athletes, that they have to visualize where they're going to jump. You have to mentally prepare yourself. So even before that, you have to ask yourself, what is the goal I want to accomplish? But so let's say you want to just chillax and stop being so angry, right? But how are you going to accomplish that? So you have to ask yourself the 5 W's, like who, what, where, when, why, or how. So, or even say, okay, maybe, going for a run, because exercising is good for your health, your mental wise, and it helps lower your anger, right? And lower your stress. So you can say, okay, well, today I'm going to do 3 steps. And then by next week, hopefully I'll be around the block. And then hopefully by 3 weeks from now, I can run 3 blocks. You just got to take baby steps. So when it comes to organization, what he's saying is that you have to mentally prepare yourself and find out how you're going to get there. You got to educate yourself. So you can't just be like all over the place. Like, how am I going to get to this goal? So can somebody tell me a goal of theirs? Like what goals do y'all have?
Actually, yeah, I can. I mean, honestly, I want to end my life working full time for Veteran Trash Talk, because what that'll mean to me is that I am full time helping veterans and those that deserve every ounce of energy I got. So, I mean, yeah, that's a big goal, but I am determined to make it happen.
So you want to change your work setting to where you're just full time.
Although I'm kind of that now, because nobody really has a whole lot of expectations.
Right, exactly.
At work. But no, I want my paycheck to come from Veteran Trash Talk.
Right.
Because mainly meaning that not only will that be meaning that I've been successful and I've achieved my goal, it'll mean that Veteran Trash Talk has achieved their goal of being, right. I mean, honestly, I feel like we can one day be the new American Legion.
I think so too.
I do. I know we can.
So
that's a lofty goal. I mean, I don't know if you were expecting one so lofty.
No, it's great. That's great. So, but what you have to think of is, okay, so 6 months from now, what am I gonna do in order to achieve this goal? So the first thing is you probably have to go with a consultant who's gonna help expand the brand, maybe get you sponsorships, right? So how am I going to do that? First things first, you got to sign up for different platforms. You got to figure out what's your target. What platform am I going to go on, right? So podcasts. Right now it's all social media. But in order to get that money coming in, you got to get the sponsorships. Right. So you got to think about that long term. And then at first, obviously, it's going to be very little. So this is like a very long term goal where it's going to be lucrative. But what's good about it is that it has that like that satisfaction, immediate satisfaction from doing what you love to do.
Yes.
So,
Absolutely.
and that is the primary thing is like, are you going to be satisfied with this 6 months from now? Are you going to be satisfied with it a year from now? So,
Absolutely. So next,
we,
Monica, goal.
Mhm.
Where's your goal at right now?
I know, well, so I've done a couple of these sort of, Len, you probably know about the secret or intentional,
Correct.
thoughts, making your stuff happen.
mhm,
So before I became manager of this department at work, I knew I was going to be the manager, and
Mhm.
I did everything that I could to be the best candidate. I created my job, and I went ahead and I never told anybody, but I ordered business cards before I got the promotion,
Oh, wow.
and I put them on my desk. I mean, not for anyone else to see because they'd freak out and be like, "What the hell?" but
they'd be like, you're crazy. What?
but I just knew in my head that it was going to happen, and boom, it happened, and I got a
Right.
kick-ass raise, and I got stock, and I got like all this shit that I was like,
Amazing.
damn,
Hell
I
yeah.
really, yes. So
Congratulations.
thank you. And now I'm thinking, well, okay, I never did any of this when I was much younger, but I don't think about, I have a son in his 20s and he's really got bad anxiety and he beats himself up all the time. And that's not something that I've done. Like, I don't think, oh, I didn't do this in my 20s, now I'm a year old. But you can really make shit happen. Like, if you believe in yourself and see it happening, it happens. And
Mhm.
I don't believe in magic or hocus pocus or, burning incense and chanting and shit unless that floats your boat, but
Right.
you can make things happen. And like, I'm
You're
proud
yeah.
as hell that I made it happen,
Hell yes, that is an amazing story. And that's just like
Thanks.
in the book. He says, your past is not who you are, it's where
Mhm.
you can start.
I love
Exactly.
that.
And the
Yeah, that
time
was
to
great.
start
Yeah.
is today. And it's
Right.
not, or set a schedule. Set a schedule. Say, I'm gonna wake
Yeah.
up, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna do that,
Mhm.
whatever. Like
Right.
because
Mhm.
if you just live a life where it's easy to go through the motions. It's so
Yeah.
easy to go through the motions. But if you live a life where you're saying, okay, I'm waking up, I'm making coffee, making breakfast, getting my kids ready. They're, rather than just, oh, okay, here's the alarm clock going off. It's time to get up,
Mhm.
time to get going. No, like you need, like
Correct.
coming back on what Lynn said, like that structure. Like that's why the
Mhm.
military is so great, because it instills that structure in
Yeah.
you. So
Yep. That discipline. Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
discipline. That's what it is. In that book, he
Right.
says the
Mhm.
most successful people are the people that have discipline.
Discipline.
Right.
And that's a whole nother topic, but I'll just end
Mhm.
on that.
No, it's on chapter
Yeah.
3, so it's in this discussion.
Uh-huh.
And
Yeah.
actually, so I'll be perfectly honest with you, and I joked with Lynn earlier in the chat, or between me and her, where I said, but when Veteran Trash Talk asked me to help him out, first of all, I was like, how can I help you guys out? I mean, because I'm a nobody, right? So my motivation for taking care of myself better physically, be perfectly honest with you, it was not vanity in the form of, oh, I want to look this way or that way, but by God, if I'm going to be the fat kid in the room,
Yeah. You got to
so
set an
Yes,
example.
I'm
stop.
not gonna, I'm
Set an
not gonna, I'm
example.
not
Yeah.
gonna be, I'm not gonna be hanging out with, you know, I mean, to me, those guys are rock stars. There's just no other way to put it. So in a good way, the things I do, I just want to be worthy of the association with everybody, not just the prominent people. I mean, look at what Leah is doing. Dan, it's crazy how everything that people are, for lack of better description, preaching, teaching, it overlaps. Dan talked about that victim mentality,
Right.
but
Mhm.
I'm getting ahead of myself, only in that, and maybe Leah can speak to this to me, because of my upbringing, raised by alcoholic parents. Well, my whole life they're still alcoholics. They're just recovered alcoholics now. But until the age of 10 years old, I got to do what the hell I want. So when I rebelled against them wanting to be parents. They sucked at it, but my rebellion was, no, I like my freedom of doing what the hell I wanted. But for me, the victim thing, I actually just recently, very recently, had to admit that, in fact, I was a victim. I have, and we all have trauma, but I've never admitted that I had trauma because there was no
because it
way.
was normalized.
Yeah, but there was no way I was going to admit that my childhood had an effect on who I am now. That's freaking ridiculous.
But the reality is it's the exact opposite.
Thinking, because the reality is I am who I am because of that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's had I'm coming to the realization that and my trauma was neglect. You know what I'm saying? Neglect and lack of structure when you need it the most, right?
Right.
But it's weird. It's like by the opposite of, or not necessarily the opposite, but where, what Leah brings to the table, and again, Dan in the book, not, yes, you are a victim, but you don't identify as the victim. I just didn't want anything to do with the word victim. Victim, I'm not a victim. Trauma, I got no trauma. I'm good.
Yeah, it definitely has a negative connotation.
Yeah, so I think for me, and I'm taking this step at 55 years old, it's actually admitting that, yeah, I suffered trauma. I've never dealt with it to the level that it should be dealt with. And, I'll continue to do so. But I got to tell you, admitting you're a victim, I think is the first step to not identifying as a victim.
Correct.
I think not admitting, like denying you were a victim.
Yeah.
Is
this
worse
it's I went through this, but this does not define who I am.
Right. Because
I don't think I even wanted to admit until just recently, thanks to one of our other book club members, Rachel, that you can't go through what I went through and it not traumatize you as a child. It's that simple.
Absolutely.
So just admitting that has been
admitting that you get your control back.
For me, it's been a foundation of how to go forward.
Right, exactly. Because now you're taking control. Now you say, yes, I was a victim, but I'm not gonna no longer make this, let this control me. For sure.
Exactly.
I grew up a lot like you did. Sorry.
I think the
no, Monica, bring it on.
I could tell you stories, but I think for a long time, like you think for me, it didn't come out in anger. It came out in, I don't know if anything's ever going to be good, kind of doubting what I could do, doubting other people, not trusting, being left alone for weeks at a time at 5 years old and, stuff like that. Like I grew up with that. I grew up rough. But for me, it's just kind of been like, I haven't never known any different. So I have a really hard time asking for help, even though like I could be screaming it by my behavior and my crazy thoughts and whatnot. I don't even think to ask for help because no one was there to help,
Yeah. So he says that in chapter 3, he talks about his wife. How the environment she grew up in was very toxic and the people were toxic, but she just didn't know and she doubted herself. She called herself a dumb blonde. And now she's a medical professional with all kinds of certifications, but she had to find a purpose and a reason of like, why am I gonna let this continue to happen to me or my family? Like this, I no longer have to be a victim of circumstance. I can change my circumstances.
Right. And it, you know, for that same reason, it makes me really angry when I think about people hurting people, you know, because I grew up really hurt and neglected, but I have a son who is golden to me. Like, I love that kid so much. I would die for him, but I never had that myself. So I'm not,
Right. Mm-hmm.
I'm paying stuff forward to him, like treating him the way I wanted to be treated. And I don't understand. And I have zero respect or thoughts for people who just perpetuate the bullshit. You know, it's like, why are you hurting? Like, you know how that feels. Why would you do that intentionally?
Yep.
It just blows my mind.
It's like they make excuses for their behavior, negative behaviors. And that's also in chapter 3, where he says excuses can be very dangerous. You know, you just keep living in that cycle instead of changing it. You make excuses why people treat you this way. You make excuses why you continue that cycle from past generations. Like the difference is that you actually have to do. And so he also brought up that point between the talkers and the doers. You need to talk the talk, but you also need to walk the walk, like less talk and more doing. Right.
It should not, we should show that we love people more than we say it.
Yeah.
You should show them that you love them before they die. Because what's sad is most people, they want to express their feelings and their gratitude for someone they know after they passed. Like you need to do that while they're around.
Yeah. Shit, bring me flowers now. I don't want them when I'm dead.
Tell me how you feel about me now.
I don't want them
How
when I'm
great
dead.
am I?
Exactly.
Hey, I think maybe we could start a whole new precedent in like living wakes. You know, we'll
Instead of pouring one out, pour it in my cup.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever seen? An aunt of mine gave me BritBox for a year for Christmas.
I'm gonna say yes before you even speak.
Okay, Mrs. Brown's Boys, right?
Yes.
Okay. So there's an episode where Grandpa throws a wake, fakes his death. They do it for insurance fraud, but it's a comedy. But he wants to know what people would say at his funeral, and so they throw a wake at the house, and you know, it's like, oh, it'd be kind of interesting to hear what people think about you. And of course, it's a sitcom and nobody said anything, and he gets up and like goes, "What the fuck, you guys?" and everybody screams. But you know, yeah.
All right, let's see. So, can you guys tell me a time where you had to make a decision that wasn't popular, but it was a good outcome for yourself and it helped you in the future? Because he talked about making that decision in high school where he didn't get in the car and then his friends got arrested, but he didn't. So he was able to.
You were in the car.
I would have been driving the car.
Yeah.
I would go faster than you driving, and nobody would have got caught. That would have been my solution.
Kevin would tell you I would be the guy not to get in the car.
But you're the guy who actually assesses the situation and says, no,
Kevin will tell
like
you. Kevin will tell you right now that I would have not gotten in that car.
Oh, yeah, Rex wouldn't have gotten the car, but I would have said, why not? Okay, I'm out of here. I can drive fast.
I would have been too drunk to think. I would have been like, fuck it, I'm getting in the car.
Where's the car?
That's actually,
Kevin, I probably would have driven.
Hey, I have a really good story about this.
We like your story so far.
Okay, so like an unpopular decision that I made, like, you know, not many of my friends, like very little of my friends, because I'm still young, supported this decision that me and my wife made. But we decided to be foster parents, and we went through the classes.
Wow.
And right now in my house, I'm in my bedroom, but we have 2 little boys. They're brothers.
Oh,
that's amazing.
Well,
that's great.
6 and 11, you know, and it's like, it's one of those things where like, yeah, they're not that bad, but
it's definitely not a popular decision because some people don't want to take on other people's kids, but I definitely endorse that because there's so many children that are in need, you know, and that's why me and my husband decided to stop having children. We're like, well, if we want any more, then we can adopt or foster, you know. So
and there's a big need for it, you know, but it's like now that like even me, like, you know, and my wife, we were like, oh my God, what are we only wanted one, but we got two. And, you know, so it's like,
Right.
there's
That's
so many
amazing.
days. Oh yeah.
And my hat's off to you.
And how old are
we've
you,
had 'em-
Rex? Tell them how old you are.
I'm 27.
What?
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a, I'm not trying to
I want to be.
brag.
I want to be Rex Brown when I grow up.
What?
I
I
have
know.
I have
Shit,
I
my
have a
son is
house
28, making me feel old.
So Rex,
I mean, we
that's
both,
something we haven't talked about. So that has been an unpopular decision in your circle.
I mean,
friends?
my family supports me, but all my
Sure.
friends, you know, they just you know, they don't understand like why I would do something like this, why I would take in like a broken package. But it's like,
But that's in how you look at it, you know?
is it,
It's
Maybe
just
they're the
helping.
yeah,
perfect package.
that's not how I look at it. Like, and I know that not everyone has this like outlook on like having kids, but it's like when we seen how many kids are in the system, it's
Right.
it's almost selfish to have a kid.
Selfish.
And
Yeah.
I'm not insulting anybody. Like, I'm not insulting anybody. Like, it is like, to think that, and I have type 1 diabetes. My wife, this is a bad way to look at it. I have type 1 diabetes. My wife's dad has type 1 diabetes. But guess what? These kids ain't got no type 1 diabetes.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's actually a positive way. That's grateful. You're being grateful that those kids don't have don't have
Exactly.
the diabetes, you know?
I know.
Yeah.
I
I
have
know.
a friend
I
that won't adopt. She can't have kids and she won't adopt because her husband is like, oh, you never know what you're gonna get. Shit, I had a child and I didn't know what I was gonna get. I mean, come on.
Exactly.
You don't know what you're gonna get. And I bet if you look up people on death row and serial killers and all that, they had birth parents. You know, you don't know what you're gonna
Right,
get.
exactly.
I
They
was
were
just gonna say,
educated.
I got 6 kids, and in every case, I didn't know what I was going to get.
You don't know what you're gonna get.
he didn't even know he was gonna
Kids.
get kids.
There's no manual. There's no, yeah.
Yeah, but it's okay. 4 of them hate me, so we're good.
Oh, stop.
Oh, stop. Right. So what type, so this chapter 3 was about the types of environment and people and things to stay away from. So what type of environment or people or excuses have you encountered that you should have avoided, but you didn't?
Kevin Travers. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, that's actually been my whole life, because
Same.
I've been a quitter my whole life. I've quit, but I didn't recognize it as being quitting, because I looked at it as, I don't have to tolerate this shit. I'm just going to
Right.
move on. But I got to be honest, that was quitting. That, I mean, and you know, it started early, and it is boy, it's once you start quitting, man, it's hard to, you know, because once you learn how to quit, you can be like, you know, you're not thinking that, because it's more like, F this, I'm out of here. I'm Kevin Travers.
Right.
It's my world, not yours.
So you're stuck in that
Wow.
mindset, right? So you had
Yeah,
that fill your mind.
stinking,
Right.
thinking, you know,
Thinking. So
and it was really the fact that you know, failure after failure because of quitting. And I'm not saying, you know, my first 2 marriages, they probably wouldn't have succeeded, but I quit every time. I quit, you know, I quit. And that I stopped quitting because of my love for Tracy. Like I was just talking, because I was, you know, discussing some of the things in the book with her. I said, like, I was making improvements without really knowing that. You know, I was doing that asset mindset early on, baby steps. And that was back to chapter 2, because I'd made a note where making little changes, those little changes, I can assure you, because I'm old as F now, they add up. And that's all I've done in the last 20 years is make little changes to where now I like myself, you know, I mean, I do. And that is thanks to, I didn't know I was making little changes, but I'm not going to pack my truck every time we have an argument because that's just stupid. Because guess who has to unpack it when you're not going anywhere?
Yep.
Me, right?
Oh, I've had one of those relationships. You were one of those.
But
I'm packing my
with
stuff.
Tracy,
Was.
and that's that whole, as good as it gets, Jack Nicholson cliche. She's made me want to be better without realizing that's what was going on. I've got to a point where I continually want to be deserving of her because she's just the sweetest freaking, sometimes I don't even know why the hell she's with me, but that's kind of like become my lifelong goal, is to be deserving of her. So in some ways I was already doing a minuscule asset mindset, because that whole positive attitude, like Tracy will tell you, I come up with these huge plans, right? We're going to do this. We're going to do that. We're going to do that. Guess what? I don't get to do them all. But if she could speak to the experiences that we've had together because of that motivation and wanting to make, so I've had that part of it. But when it comes to the stuff that matters, that's where I've been lacking. And that's where it's a lot. What do they call that in AA? That self-inventory. That's what I've been lacking, is self-inventory, because I've always passed it off to, nothing wrong with me. I'm Kevin Travers.
Yeah.
I'm golden. I'm a paratrooper. I'm the shit. Everybody else is
Airborne.
Yeah.
No,
I think also once you start realizing that, they stupid saying, they say you point one finger, they're four pointing right back at you.
Yeah.
Once you start realizing that it's not the world, it's you start being motivated by the positive stuff. Like
Right.
in your case, your wife, and keeping her love in your life is more important than running from the bullshit,
And it's more important than me.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
But then you become attracted to things that are better for you instead of running from the things that you don't want.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I think my enthusiasm for Veteran Trash Talk comes from the fact that it has absolutely changed my life. And that started with a stupid video of Nick saying, Happy National Airborne Day. We're better than you. And I'm like, this is funny. and then seeing the absolute, I'd heard about I'd heard the number 22 thrown around. I'm keyed in enough, but when I really got a grasp on it, that absolutely broke my heart. And now, it kind of goes along with that fat kid, not wanting to be that fat kid in the room, but more so, I refuse to let my brothers and sisters within the Veteran Trash Talk community down. I'm not going to fall into those cycles of that stinking thinking, because that has no added value to our community. And whether I like it or not, for the first time in my life, I get, for that whatever reason, people look up to me, and I want to be deserving of that respect by continually improving myself. How can I preach, be better, quit being a triggered pansy, if in the background in here, in my thinking, because this is where it all happens, because we can portray a picture of ourselves as we choose.
Don't be a sayer. Don't be a sayer, bro.
Thank you, Rex.
Don't just talk the talk, walk the walk. Right. Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
But Leah, her second show on the podcast, profound, absolutely profound, because she was the one that brought to my attention the MST. That friggin' blew me away, because I'm
3 out of 4 women. 3 out of 4
women veterans like, or they're treating women military personnel like shit.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I didn't see that. But then again, I didn't see that because I wasn't around a lot of female veterans. But I can assure, and my favorite statement about that was from Joe, and I think it was on your show, Leah, where he said that Panther Brigade, ain't nobody accepting that shit. And there was a different level of professionalism within the 82nd Airborne. And that's why I've, even as the super pogue that I am, I'm so thankful I was part of that organization, because it was all about respecting people,
Right.
I mean, across the board, no doubt about it.
Right. And not only do you believe it, but you emulate it. Like you show people this is how I am a model citizen. This is how we all should be, and so
Yeah, but let me ask you, and this is across the board, because I think one of the things that I struggle with is, I think it's referred to as imposter syndrome, where like all of a sudden people are gonna find out that I'm really a turd. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying they're
hey, listen.
wrong,
So we
because
had I'm sorry, we had a guest on our show on Throat Punch Monday. Her name was Erin, and she told us that the biggest thing for her was when she was feeling down and out, and she was thinking about, killing herself. She was like, okay, well, let me help other people. So it was her therapy to help other people and find a purpose. So she wanted to go out there and help other people. So I kind of see a similarity there. Not that you want to kill yourself or anything, but you want to make yourself a better person. And by doing that, you're helping other people. And so you're showing them, what it's like to be a veteran trash talker. What kind of model citizens are we trying to be? Like you want to set an example. So you're helping other people, and it's helping you.
I want to be that person that other people want me in their circle, because I'm bringing something positive to the table. But again, based on my inner thinking, because like I said, I haven't always been the most moral person or the most, I mean, I don't know. I think like most of us, we're probably harder on ourselves than is actually factual,
Absolutely.
How many people, I just want to say this real quick. How many people have ever, like, if it's like a sergeant or a supervisor, anybody, they get on to you, and it's the way you feel is you were like, if like, honestly, like if I fucked up, like if someone tries to tell me, you cannot hurt my feelings any more than I already have.
Yes. Absolutely.
But a lot of times I'm just speaking from the workforce, working in machine shops and stuff. I'm sure it's the same in the military, but a lot of times you can get degraded, you really can. And like for you to bounce back from that, it makes you hard, but it also has other effects.
So true.
So, Kevin, do you know how to kind of help with that imposter syndrome?
No, I don't, because it kills me every day. You know when it kills me, and then you can help me, is in those quiet moments where it's like, oh my God, one of these days, people are gonna find out that you're not who you're claiming to be, even though I feel like I'm just being me. And because I'm trying to be a better version of myself, that shitty person is still got a grasp on me. So no, tell me how.
So you have to just tell people that. You have to be honest and tell people, like when you go and you be like, listen, this is me now. I'm on a journey, right? So I used to be a huge bitch in the military. People would see me and turn and walk the other way. I've made grown men cry. Not something that I'm proud of, but it would be like this. I was an angry, bitter bitch. Like that's who I was. And it's been the last 9 years that I have been pouring into myself, because I don't want to be that person to my kids, to my husband, to myself anymore. And you can't build a business being a huge bitch, that's for sure. But the only way to combat that, and I learned this in the military as a counterintelligence agent, okay? Because what the enemy will do is they look for your weaknesses and then they extort your weaknesses, okay? But with the government, like if you say, hey, listen, I really like this Russian lady over here, I think I want to date her, and you report it and you have a clearance, you're good to go. right? If your supervisor knows that you smoked weed one time and you get on Article 15 or whatever, like, punishment's done. So you can't be extorted for things that you're not hiding.
Secrets. Get
Right.
it out there.
Right.
You know,
Exactly.
so they can't use it against you. You're always going to have haters on social media. You're always going to have trolls. But as you build up your posture and your confidence in yourself, that'll bother you less and less, because you know that hurt people. That's them projecting on you. So if you are saying, like, if you just wanted to go live or do some stories or something, be like, hey, listen, this is really bothering me, so I just want to get this out there. I was a turd.
Yep.
So you just put it out, and the
Takes
people
away its power.
right. It does. And then that goes away. That's not a fear anymore, because you've put it out, and you know that the people who love you are going to be like, hell yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Go Kevin. Right. And the people that are going to troll you are going to be like, oh my goodness, or they're just going to be quiet because they're going to be like, wow, I can't believe you just said that.
Right.
And if they talk shit, they don't matter. Like, they just don't matter.
Just
like my
own it.
meme,
Like,
today, in order to offend you, your opinion has to, or in order to offend me, your opinion has to matter to me.
That's
You
right.
know? And that's really what it is. I mean, focus on
Opinions
the
are
people
like the
that do
buttholes.
matter. What's that? What did you say?
You're sharing journey, right? By you sharing your journey and your story, it's powerful, because you're helping bring people up to your level, right?
Gotcha.
Like, you're rising above all of that BS, and you want to bring people with you. It's the biggest struggle that I have being around the veteran community, because there are so many victims. There are so many people that are like, woe is me, this is what happened, I can't get past it, my life sucks. And
they use it as a crutch.
That's right. You have to be willing, like, whether you were in the military or not in the military, you may have had a really shitty life. You know, we've all been through stuff, and it's up to people individually. I just got into a dadgum Facebook arguing with my niece, who's like 23, the other day, about DoorDash tips. And I said, if you don't like how much you're getting tips, go get another job. Like,
if you don't like something, change it.
That's right, because she's got this entitlement thing of like, well, I have to pay for my maintenance for my car, and if you don't tip me up front, I'm not picking up the food. And I was like, sounds like you got a problem with yourself, and you're probably rude, because I don't tip anybody until you deliver to me, and then I over deliver back to you. So if you're going to be rude and not pick up my food, then guess what, bitch? You didn't make no money.
You get back exactly what you give out, and if she's giving out attitude, she's going to get attitude.
So with the DoorDash thing, it's like the younger people are like, and we're getting off subject here, but let me just say this real quick. It's the younger generation that are picking up the food, right? So they're doing this, what is it? Gig work, right? So they're doing the gig work and they're picking up the food. They don't know how millennials and Gen X's and boomers, we tip after the fact that you bring it to the door. Not before. Why am I going to tip you?
We tip for service, not for
exactly. And so these Gen Zs is what I want to call them, and younger millennials. I don't want to put them in my category, but anyway, they're thinking that we need a tip first. So anyway, I'm gonna get off of that. It's a generational thing.
What I'd like to say is really where I'm at now, and I don't think me being hard on myself and being introspective is a bad thing, because I have never felt the brotherly and sisterly love that I get from the Veteran Trash Talk community. So really, all I'm trying to do is be worthy of that. But I've broken that down, and that's where, you know, and this is back to Dan talking about making small changes, you know, because those small changes, as I said, eventually add up to something great. So how, instead of that, you know, you hear it in Dan's book, Veteran Trash Talk preaches it. We've all heard it. Be the best version of yourself you can be. Well, that's awesome. But that's a big step. That's a big tall order. So
just,
you know,
1% better tomorrow than you were today.
So you're not wrong, Leah. I mean, I've even just broken that down to 2 words: be better. So when I find myself in those moments that I'm not who I want to be, or I'm not heading in the right direction, I consciously take the time to tell myself, be better, because that's not such a big order. And that be better is adding up. I mean, I'm proof of that. And that is my goal, is I want to be worthy of all the love and respect I've received in the Veteran Trash Talk community.
I think that's great, Kevin. But you also need to give yourself credit, so that you're not always hard on yourself, and being grateful for the person that you are today versus the person that you were yesterday. The bit better that you did today than you were yesterday.
Yeah.
So because I know you guys were talking about gratefulness, I was kind of in and out. Sorry, but being grateful, so you can find things to be grateful for, and that's one thing that you should be grateful for each day. Like, were you better today?
Yes.
Be grateful for that, and thankful to yourself for having that drive and commitment to being better, and give yourself the kudos that you stepped up and you did that.
Right.
If you're always being hard on yourself, it's like that parent that you're never enough for.
Exactly.
Like, oh, hey, you just got a scholarship. Great job. You didn't give the scholarship to the right school.
Yeah. So
I try to tell my son.
The one thing, excuse me, the one thing that I am it speaks to what Leo was saying, is that I've never done it. Starting tomorrow, I'm going to write down 3 things I'm grateful for. Never done that, but Dan Fielding said,
and you should post it online so that you can be accountable for it.
Wow.
Put it out there.
Wow.
Put it out there. Write
Absolutely.
it down.
Absolutely.
Do it for a week, and then write it down.
I was a turd then with bop, bop, bop. Today I'm grateful for being bop, bop, bop. So you start putting that stuff out there. Then I was this, now I was this. Then I was, so if you start putting that out there, you're continually fighting that monster of you're not good enough, or I'm an imposter. And you're also saying, this is my journey. This is where I've come. And you're going to get more people going, okay, well, how did you do it? How did you do it? Right?
Yeah.
And you're going to make a big, big impact. But hey guys, I'm sorry, I have got to go, because we've got tomorrow with another show. But thank you so much for having me. I look forward to the next one. Okay.
Nice meeting you.
Love you,
Sure. Thanks for joining us, Leah.
I was just going to add that I've dealt with a lot of depression in my life, but I have this huge survivor in me that I just keep going. My son has a pretty cushy life by comparison, but he gets really wrapped up in depression and anxiety, and he puts himself down a lot. And I just try to remind him, if anybody was talking to me that way, how would you feel about that?
That's right.
Or if somebody else was saying those things to you that you're saying to yourself, would you want to hang around with them, or would you want to kick their ass? So it's kind of like, I don't know if I'm mixing up thoughts, but when they say you become the people that you're around, like guilty by association.
Right.
That's back to the book as well.
If you give so much attention to those negative thoughts about yourself, you embrace it and you sort of become it. But if you realize, or even if you have a hard time defending yourself or giving kudos to yourself, think about like, oh, if, in your case, your wife, like if somebody said those things that you're thinking about yourself to your wife, you would kick their ass, So try to kick that part of yours ass,
Yeah, that's true. That's a great point.
So what I was thinking, obviously this has been awesome for sure. But the one thing I liked, and this is going to be super stupid from my end, but I think I would like to, because they said, get the group to hold you accountable. So you guys can ask me, how you doing? What you doing? How's this going?
Right.
So this is where it's going to get a little bit weird. But the one thing that bugs the shit out of me, I bite my nails. It's so gross. I have the ugliest fingers ever.
No, they're not. They're as pretty as your eyes.
Oh, well, shit, Kevin, I'm never talking to you again, because I can't stand it. No.
But here's where I have a conundrum, because unlike most nail biters, I asked my mom, I'm like, Mom, why do I bite my nails? When did I start biting my nails? And she gave me this guilty look. She's like, you did it because you saw me do it and you imitated me. So I don't bite my nails because I'm stressed. I don't bite my nails because I'm anxious. I just bite them because it's a habit. And it's the one ugly bad habit that I want to get in the way of, even though it's like not, it's not going to kill me biting my nails. It's not going to stop me from getting a job. It's not going to, I'm not going to I'm not going to overdose on biting my nails.
Now, show us your nails every day.
How about tomorrow only bite 2 nails instead of 3?
Yeah.
Like,
this man,
baby steps, okay?
Do you want to be accountable to this group of people for
Yes,
biting your nails?
Before each meeting, I'm going to need to see them hands.
Hey Kevin, I had a friend that bit their nails, and they actually made an Instagram and took pictures of their fingernails every day, and said, "I'm doing this."
How many followers do they have?
I think he only had like 200 followers, but it actually got him.
To know if there's the followers.
Hey, if it works, it works.
Yeah. So my point.
Hey, Kevin. Let me tell you that I don't know if you're about to say this, but imagine just that little bit of nail biting your mom did, how that impacted you. Now, if she would have beat you every day, how would have that impacted you? Like that's the things that, like, that's the trauma of us as a child. And I think that your nail biting example is a very good way to show that
what happens has an effect on you, even though you don't know how. Now, as normal, I thought I was going to have to smack the shit out of you, but apparently that's not the case right now. So my point being is, why don't we all put one thing out there that, let's hold each other accountable.
All right.
Let's pick something, a goal. Let's set a goal in motion. So there's mine.
Right.
As stupid as it seems,
I think that's a great idea. You should probably put it in the group chat to hold yourself accountable. And then not only that, but also post about it or post a picture or something like what Leah was talking about earlier about, being a better person today than yesterday. You only need to be like 0.1% better. Yeah. So
I mean, honestly, when it comes to veteran trash talk in the community, I think I do pretty. I mean, when I said I think I bear my soul fairly well, for the benefit of the community, because that is my goal. So if I can take it to that next step to make me a better person, I don't have a problem with that, for sure. So let's bring that to the group. We'll point out that part of Dan's book was holding each other accountable. Let's all just pick one simple thing in our lives that we can ask each other. Hey, Travers, you sucking on your nails again, or you letting them grow?
Hey, Trav. Right.
Well,
hey, I could say a good thing too, like with this book club, is like to just just have a time where you're going. If you can't make time to read, just set a time and then do it and make yourself do it. Because I blocked out like an hour and a half to read 2 chapters.
Yeah, it didn't take very long.
I'm a slow. Hey, listen, if y'all could see the back of my.
So you're a Marine at heart.
You
can't read.
It's next red. This next red, and I know all 20 letters of the alphabet. But yeah, I really.
All right, Len, closes out, man.
All right, okay. I'm so happy that you guys got a chance to hang out with us. We went over the first 3 chapters of The Asset Mindset by Daniel Fielding, and you can't see it right here. So the next time we're going to meet, it's going to be next Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. And that's it, guys. I'm going to go ahead and say bye. So bye.